Welcome to the Game Time Podcast, where I talk about my life and beans.
Oh, fat man, please! This is getting awkward.
Thank you for that, Spy. So, after that little intro, assuming that I was able to get it right, I decided for this week I wanted Dr. Robotnik to introduce the podcast. Considering that at the time of recording this, I have no idea how it came out. So, I will just have to wait and see in the final product. But, of course, I am being joined by my good buddy Mike Set, as always.
But of course.
But of course.
But.
No. I think not.
But of say.
Splendificent. Oh, I can't really do that too well.
You did it actually better than mine. My snort was more or less, what's his name?
Darkside Phil?
No. What's his name? Mr. Bean! Mr. Bean. Mine was more of a magic.
Really? Because I was thinking more of Snort as being sort of more of a Darkside Phil thing, considering he has post-nasal drip. Excuse for not being able to blow his nose, more like. But anyway, getting on with the podcast, life. Let us talk about life. So, life, how has that been treating you, Mikey boy?
I've been having these moments where I just want to sleep in, and hopefully I'll be having them this week because, well, I wake up to the sound of rain. The tin roof outside my house, my drive-in. Again, another reason I love tin roofs, so you can hear that loud rain.
But it's been waking you up these last couple of mornings, I will assume.
Or I sleep to it when it's raining at night. The only time I haven't been able to sleep because it's raining or storming, it was just this one time a couple of months ago. It's because it was seriously thundering and seriously storming. Like, the thunder and lightning was so goddamn loud. All the neighbor dogs and everything were just barking like crazy. I actually got a text from my big brother saying, if you're awake, don't panic, we're fine. But send a text to us and let us know if you wake up. And so I did. I say, you okay? Good. Surprisingly, Bubby is still asleep, but the budgies are going apeshit.
I wouldn't be too surprised. That reminds me of one, you were talking about thunderstorm, that reminds me of one time, it was many, many years ago, it was while my parents were still together, and we were living at our house then. I was sort of slightly further inland than I am now. It was, we were having a usual thunderstorm in the middle of the night. You get the flash, you count it, and then you hear the thunder afterwards. Here was the thing though. I was lying there awake, listening to the rain. I saw the flash of the lightning and went, "Oh, the thunder will be coming in any second." It sounded like a bomb had gone off. It was that fucking loud.
I was getting them all the time, and what actually woke me up was not just the thundering sound and whatnot. What caught my attention first was the flash of light. It was happening that often. It was like a war zone.
Wow. But yeah, needless to say, when this clap of thunder went off like a fucking bomb, every member of my family immediately came out into the hallway and were just like, "What the hell was that?" We were all just looking at each other because it woke everybody up in the house with how loud it was.
And worse, I heard one immediate kaboom. No, and I was like, okay, there was a lightning strike not very far from me that time. And of course, the power went out. On the bright side, not only did I get to use this really, really expensive and really strong, tiny little flash that my dad got for me, which, again, I almost blinded myself when I turned it on, even away from me. It's that goddamn bright and powerful. But a powerful Trixie! I couldn't help but to say that. I also, for the first time in this house, used the candle I bought. Well, actually, it was a candle that was gifted to me from work. It was a vanilla scented one.
Scented candles.
It's pretty. It has its own lid and everything. And finally, I got to light it.
You don't really... if it's a scented candle, you don't really have to wait until it's, like, dark or something to light it, because the idea is that it burns the candle and you get the fragrance. You get the fragrance, lad.
Yeah, but I can't help it. I just see the candle and I'm like, I want to save this. I know I love it and I'll save it. And I want to, if I want to whiff, I'm just going to take the lid off and take a whiff because it's that strong. It doesn't even have to be lit. You can smell it.
Yeah, well, don't leave it for too long, because I think the smell will eventually dissipate from it, and then you won't have anything left.
That's why it's got the lid on.
Still, worth using it rather than losing it. I was going to say something, but I forgot what it was. Do you have those moments where you're just like, you think of something you want to talk about, or say to someone, but because you're too busy listening to what they're saying and registering what they're talking
Get that all
about.
the time. The worst ones are the ones where you're like, remember it. Fuck, I'm getting a brain fart and I know it. I'm doing everything I can to remember it, and then I question it.
And I know it.
Then it goes away.
Yep. Yeah, now I remember what I was talking about, because you were mentioning torches. I need to get a new one, because the one that I've got at the moment, it's one of those wind-up torches, but the button on it is broken. So, every time I try and turn it on, you have to sort of sit there and keep pressing it several times until the connector works, and then you can actually get the torch to work.
I have two of those. Both are broken, but I just keep them, kind of like how I kept my Robo Sapien, which still technically works, but it's dusty, and I only use, again, the wind-ups and the Robo Sapien for just one purpose.
Sound effects.
Forgive me if I mispronounce it. Yeah, Foley work, I believe it's called. Foley? Or Foley?
I don't know.
Or Foley? Can't remember which way it's pronounced, but yeah. And, yeah, just mainly do it for little robotic sounds. Little toy robotic sounds. Again, animatronic like the Five Nights at Freddy's characters. I believe I did something like that for Limmerford. And he did an unlisted video where he was testing it, but it never got fully finished, so unfortunately the sound effects didn't really get used. Except for in My Friend Fredbear, I noticed there were one or two sound effects where I realized, oh hey, it's that old motor sound I recorded for him. He used it. He especially uses it whenever they move their eyes. I basically had three type of sound effects. I had the one for the wind-up torch, and I had the one for the toy kid wind-up one, which had an even higher pitched motor. That again didn't work, and I thought I could use this, put it to use instead of it just going into the trash bin. And again, the Robo Sapien, which would have the most obvious sound effects for limbs moving, because I actually grab the limbs and move them.
Handy. How handy.
Indeed.
So, other things in life. I finally got fiber optic broadband! Hooray! I'm no longer behind the times in regards to other YouTubers. So, I've got a brilliant download speed, but I've also got an upload speed that allows me to stream at 720p.
The goddamn irony. The moment you said, I finally got... that's what happened on my end just then, and I only just now regained synchronization with you.
Well, I have good internet, or I don't know whether that was anything to do with you, but I have good internet.
It was probably my end due to the storm that's still kind of going on at the moment.
Maybe. The only thing I will say is a bit of a downside with it is the router that I've got with this. It's got a little blue light on the front of it that's sort of giving you the status of how the internet works. That thing is so bloody bright. I tried to go to bed last night, and it was lighting up most of the room, and I was sitting there thinking, I can't go to sleep with that there, so I had to get out of bed, grab the router, and turn it towards something just so that the light was just being blocked out to some degree. Thankfully, there is an option within the router settings that allows me to turn the brightness of that down, so I need to do that later, but it was just when I went to bed last night, it was just so bright.
whenever I had certain things that were like that, like for example, I have my alarm clock. Um, at the moment, what I currently use is this little beanie I've got. I just simply flop it in front of the alarm clock, and whenever I want to check the time or anything, I just lift it.
Yeah, but imagine you wake up in the middle of the night, you don't know what time it is, or the alarm goes off and you don't know what time it is, but then you roll over and try to go back to sleep again.
Now, I always check the time before I hit the snooze, and I was like, "Ugh, that's just how I am in the head."
Isn't there like a dimmer switch or something on there or something for the brightness of the clock?
It's an old model.
Even then,
At least
it should still have a dimmer switch on it, or just something that says brightness high or low.
it only has 4 total buttons.
That
It
is
only
an old
has
clock.
like a clock, alarm, snooze, and sleep. That's all it has. Not counting the switch to turn it on.
There might be another switch on the bottom somewhere.
That's all there is. I know because I've looked. That's when I decide, no, fuck it. I grab the little beanie that's hanging on the edge of my bed, and I just flop it on it, and it just sits comfortably there, right next to my
Ow.
rock salt lamp bowl thing.
I don't know why every
Speak-
time I yawn, I always yawn so much that I end up having to make my jaw click.
I heard that too.
It always does that. I don't know whether that's just something that's unique about my jaw, or I gotta go to a hospital to go get that fixed, but every time I do a very big yawn, my jaw clicks when I try and close my
And every
mouth
time
again.
when I do a very big yawn, I get a fucking jaw cramp. It's almost one of the most painful things ever. But
Oh,
no.
like
The real painful
right down sort of your neck, the front of your neck.
And what's worse, I can't close my jaw when that's happening.
No, I just generally tend to pull the muscle like in the front of my neck, and it's just like, ow! I didn't mean to yawn that much.
But the worst cramps I ever get are are in the back of my thighs. It's not the feet, not the jaw, it's there. Those are the most painful because well, it's just the most painful to the I know because when I do get that sometimes, I actually start crying out and literally crying. Ow. I'm just stuck on the carpet for a while because it usually happens to both of my legs. I'm crying and just like stirring around and just waiting for the pain to go away so I can stop screaming. One time that happened when I woke up on a work day, and I actually had to call in sick because, well, last time I had something like that, it took the whole day for me to even walk around with confidence.
Ow.
And but on that day, the entire day, and I could still barely stand without shaking or triggering the pain. I
Yikes.
actually had to lie down, and I had to keep my knees folded because if I stretched out, it triggers it again.
That kind of reminds me of when you wake up in the morning and you try stretching your legs and you pull the muscle like on the lower part of your leg. I have had that happen
Yeah,
so many times, and it's just I can understand that pain. It is. I think I did that to myself once, like sometime last year. I haven't done it recently, but
goes to show you
I
how
just
little
remember
exercise I
the
got.
amount of pain I was in. I think I was starting to see spots. It was that bad. Just anybody who has ever done that knows the pain. Ugh, just too much. Too much.
I got most of that. You broke up for me again, and I just noticed it's definitely my end because I noticed that my mouse was blinking. So something reconnected and it fucked with Discord.
I was wondering why you were a little quiet.
Yep, I didn't want to interrupt you, and I was hoping, hopefully by the time I resync, he will have finished, and I would have heard enough to respond.
But unfortunately, the gods of technology decided, nah, fuck him.
Uh,
So
yeah,
is
my
there?
goodness, those are the worst ones.
Yeah. So is there anything else that you want to talk about in regards to life?
Um, Not really. That's all that was on my mind at the moment. I have
Um.
got other things I want to talk about, but I can't remember what they would technically fit in life.
Right.
Well,
But what are they? I mean, it doesn't really matter if we have to move on to gaming stuff. I mean, it is called the Game Time Podcast for a reason.
okay, then I guess I better talk about them now before we go on to the game stuff, then. I just realized. Yeah, you got a point there. I wanted to talk to you about some um, kids shows that you watched in your childhood. Like
Mm-hmm.
mine was ABC Kids. Well, at least that was the channel and also the brand.
Well, it really depended on which one you're talking about. Because with me, we had two. Because we had CBBC, which was, of course,
Yeah.
the BBC
But mainly
stuff.
the question I'm asking is, what was some of your favorite childhood kid shows or series that you watched when growing up?
Oh, I don't know. You're asking me, sort of thinking back nearly, probably like over 25 years ago here. Anywhere between 20 to 25 years ago, and my mind at the moment is just drawing a blank. Although the one that popped up in my head just now was one called Bodger and Badger.
I remember I had this. You
Yes?
first.
Well, it's just that unfortunately the guy that used to star in that show died a few years ago. I think he used to do the voices for because it was a live action thing, and I think it was a guy doing sort of almost like a ventriloquism act. Because he used to hold the puppet. Because looking back on it, he obviously used to hold the puppet in his hand and do the whole actions, and just the voices seem to say to me, yeah, he was doing both at the same time.
Oh
So
boy.
yeah,
What the fuck? I tried to say oh boy and oh my at the same time, and I said oh boy. What the hell
boy.
is that?
my boy.
Boy, boy.
And now you're
Where's
starting
Winnie
to break up
Louise?
for me for some strange reason.
You're not breaking up for me though. Oh well.
Are you
Am I clearing
Are
up?
you downloading furry porn again?
Oh wait. Actually, I was actually sending something to a friend of mine on Discord. That would
Was
definitely
that.
be me.
Yeah, probably good idea. You don't do that at the same time. Just
God
saying.
damn it. Sorry about that. But oh,
I'm
fuck,
the
I
one
lost
with the
my train
fiber
of-
optic
oh, yeah.
internet here. I can do that. I can do things simultaneously, not you.
Oh fuck you! I've got Aussie internet.
That's no excuse.
It is excuse. It's medieval Stone Age internet. If that's such a thing. It's from the Dark Ages.
Mine's from the Victorian era. They didn't even have internet back then. Wait. Yeah, because apparently I found out yesterday when I was getting the fiber optic set up. They're still using copper telephone lines going around here, and apparently you lose a megabyte every like 200 meters from the switch box. So yeah, and I was sitting here thinking, I wonder what they're gonna have to do to dig all of that up and replace it. That's gonna be some serious shit. So yeah, you wanted to talk about the kids programs that you wanted to, or you used to watch.
Oh yeah. I have a lot in mind, but I remember I had this old VHS tape that was ABC Kids. It was just basically it had a bunch of it had like 1 to 3 episodes of different kids shows that were on ABC Kids. Like Winnie the Pooh, Johnson and Friends, I believe was his name. It was the Johnson and Friends one was probably one of my favorite ones. It was basically that one where Pink Elephant, and I think his name's Johnson, and I remember the only other character I remember is the big water bottle toy guy. I think his name was Alfred. So his
You're
friends.
asking the wrong person about this because I do not recognize or none of that sounds familiar to me.
Yeah, I'd have to look back on it, but yeah, the main character was a big pink elephant plushie, and I only just now realized, thinking back on it, that they were big costumes, and the whole set was just a big giant room meant to look like a regular small kids' room from a toy's perspective. I realized, damn, they went all out on that. And my favorite toy character was definitely, well, actually two, was Alfred, the water bottle guy, and I don't remember his name. I think his name was Diesel. Yeah, his name was Diesel because he's a little toy truck. So anyway, there was I can't remember if it was
Kind of sounds
Johnson or
like an
Jonathan.
earlier version of Toy Story in a way.
Yeah, I'd have to show you some clips, but if I remember the character appearance wise, again, there was the main character was a pink elephant. There was a toy not a harmonica. It's not a harmonica. It's a you know the big fucking hell. You know the first Shrek movie when they encounter Robin Hood, there was that guy doing that. It was like a xylophone, but it wasn't piano. It was a
Oh, an
bass
accordion.
accordion. Okay, and one was a toy accordion with a clown like face on it. And again, there was the toy truck, and there was the water bottle. I can't remember if there was anything. I think that's all the friends. Oh wait, no, yeah, there was some others too. There was this. Oh yeah. There was this little plushy Stegosaurus dinosaur named Victoria.
Yeah, I don't
Her, I
recognize
remember.
any of that. So
Yeah, they all have they have pretty thick Aussie accents. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Australian. But yeah,
you mentioning all of that actually just reminded me of another one that I remember. It was called, I think it was called The Secret Life of Toys. It was a Jim Henson thing, so it was all sort of
do go on.
puppeteering thing. I can't remember any of the characters' names. I think what they were. I think one was a tiger, one was a bear that had an eye missing, one was a rocking horse, was like a giraffe rocking horse thing. And like I said, I can barely remember any of it. I just remember one episode where they're talking about an area behind a door that that led to another room, or was like some part of an attic that was really, really dangerous or something, or was like unused. And one of the toys went in there, and another one had to go and get him out because he was like falling through the floorboards or something. It was like almost like he was possessed or being, mind controlled in a way, and it was weird. I don't know why, but that one episode just seems to stick out for me.
Oh, by the way, I just found an image of the characters. These are all the characters, the main characters. This is them.
Oh,
And
wait,
again-
hold on a moment. I recognise those guys.
You do?
Yeah, the way you were describing them, I was just like, I don't recognise
And
them.
I did get his name right.
But
His name's
now,
Johnson.
looking
Johnson
at
and
them, I
Friends.
do actually recognise them now. I'm like, oh, I know that one. I do vaguely remember it.
And I knew I forgot one character. I forgot the robot. Oh, I forgot the robot. The episode that I had, well, I had a few episodes from them, but my favorite episode was definitely the one where there was a stormy night, and then Victoria is panicking when she realizes that that their owners were temporarily leaving the house due to fear of flooding, and they were only allowed to bring one toy each. One was Victoria, and the other one they decided to drew straws, and they decided to. Although the accordion girl, I forgot her name, won the straws pull. She decided to give it to the robot because, well, if the house starts flooding a bit, the water will, short out her circuit, so she won't be of any help to fight the flood. So she decided to stay and give her the straw. It was a really awesome one, and I really like how it ends. It's like the water doesn't get into the house, but they start getting a bunch of ceiling leaks, and they start getting all these buckets. And there's, I like how near the end they've got buckets everywhere because they're getting so many leaks, and they realize that one of the buckets is almost full, And Alfred decides, well, I'm a water bottle, I'll take it. And they say, well, how much can you take? Well, how much have you got? And then it cuts to the morning. And then you see Alfred's all puffed up. It was funny. Oh, I loved that one.
Yeah, like I said, when you were describing it before, I was just like, I don't recognize that one. But the moment you showed me that image, I looked at that and went, oh, wait a minute, I think I know what you're talking about. I don't remember anything about the show, I just remember it very, very vaguely. But I do remember that one.
Oh, and what's the name of that kids show with the sentient elephants that grow up and hold on, I got an image of that
Baba?
too.
Was it
Is that his
animated?
name? These guys?
Yeah, that's
Yeah, these
Baba. They used to
Yeah,
they used to show that so much over here because when they had nothing else to no other kids programs or a series had ended, they just put fucking Baba on because that was all they could. That's all they had.
Yeah, there was 2 episodes on the tape too, and they were hilarious. One was that his grandfather ghost showed up and was just like baffled by, look how far you guys have gotten with such. I remember when we were just regular elephants in the jungle. And I like how when he starts interacting with things physically, only he can see him, but he's still interacting with things. Like one where he he messes with a lawnmower and then it goes on to the car, and when he's driving past what's her name, and he tries to shout out an excuse, just going for the drive, and I like her reaction. He's in the passenger seat, and then just faints. Oh my goodness.
You can tell he's having too much fun with this, can't you?
Yes. Oh my goodness. I didn't think I'd go on such a nostalgia trip by just remembering that one tape. I was also going to go on about Winnie the Pooh as well. All these other different
but
versions
that was something we got over here as well. The Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. Yeah, we got that. We got Aladdin. There was a show that used to come on Saturday mornings at one point during the 90s that was just entirely Disney related. There was no other shows came on. It was just purely Disney related cartoons, and that was it.
And 2 last little things I wanted to mention. One was about Winnie the Pooh. The other one was about Elmo, actually. Out of all the Winnie the Pooh ones, and there are a lot I really love, even some of the plush ones that they did later on, but the animated ones I loved too. But this one, I don't know which one it is particularly, but it's more very classic. It has the good musical score here and there, those little sing-alongs that you expect from the old Disney stuff. And even plenty of fourth wall breaks from the narrator himself. It was the storybook version. I like these 2 scenes that were my personal favorite. Again, I seem to love flood scenarios, water, storm, rain, but I liked how it was showing how each one of the characters was dealing with the flood. And when it went to Piglet, I was laughing and I was adoring at the same time because Piglet's house was completely flooding.
I know which one you're talking about now because I used to have this one recorded on video. The fact that he's trying to scoop water out to put it into other containers and then the container sinks because it's got too much water in it.
And I like how earlier, when it's flooding, he tries to dig under cover under his blankets, but it's flooded and it goes, comes back out. And I love how the narrator interacts with them and sometimes even talks to them, like Winnie the Pooh, for example, clarifies here and there. No, actually, this is a story more about Tigger. Oh, but you're in it. Oh. But my favorite narrator interaction was definitely when Tigger got stuck in the tree.
Yeah, so he turns the book upside down to get him.
No, upside down, sideways.
It turns the book sideways. Yeah, sorry, I got that bit wrong.
Not the credits, the text. And then he tips it sideways so it's like a slide and it goes down. He goes. I really loved that. Looking back on it, it was really just heartwarming how the way they did that.
Yeah.
This isn't from the same book. This is something else, but I couldn't help but bring this up. I love this part where Tigger gets all full of himself when he saves the day this one time, and then adopts this alter ego. He creates this alter ego of himself called the Masked Defender. Have you seen that one?
Was that the animated series that they did?
Yeah, the same one where we got the pirate song one, which I love too. Speaking of which, I got something to talk about that before we go on. But first, the funny part that I loved about that was when he's cutting down Owl's house, sawing it. And Piglet's, again, trying to talk some sense into him. There's nothing to rescue. Nothing to rescue? What's that? Owl's house. Exactly. He actually talks about, and if he sleepwalks, he might walk out of his house and fall and bend his beak. So his solution to cut down the whole tree, and not only Al is still in there, but so is Piglet and Winnie the Pooh. I like how as it's slowly tilting and all the furniture's moving, including them, Pooh just calmly asks, Al, were you planning on moving? No, Pooh. And as they're sliding, then why are we?
Oh, Bodger. That reminds me, that whole thing with Solid Snake doing, Colonel, I'm trying to sneak around, but I'm dummy thick, and the clapping of my ass cheeks keeps alerting the guards. I don't know if it's the same actor that does the voice of Winnie the Pooh, but the voice actor for Winnie the Pooh did, oh, Bodger, I'm stuffed with fluff, I'm dummy thick, and the clapping of my ass cheeks keeps alerting the bees.
You have to show me that.
I don't know whether I'll be able to find it or not. It was on Twitter. I don't know if I liked the post or not, and it's probably buried somewhere where I can't find it. So
beneath the endless trash of garbage.
Yeah, people complaining about social issues and furry porn. No, but that's kind of my personal thing. Anyway, moving on.
Guilty. No. Last thing relating to the whole Winnie the Pooh one. You remember that one I showed you with the pirate one? That was a good one. Again, open with a good musical. But then there were some other things later on, like the whole prank that Rabbit pulls on them for messing up his garden. But the nightmare scene, again, it's very tame, but considering how I saw it as a kid, I understand, that was really scary. The nightmare that poor Rabbit had, fearing that he went too far with his joke, that they would hate him forever. How the way they represented his fear of them turning against him. He was basically skipping across like a chessboard of black and red, and they since he tricked them by filling this treasure chest full of rocks, they emerge as Gollum gargoyle statue versions of themselves, and they slowly bend over with their angry face before speaking. I'd have to show you that scene, but
I don't remember that episode. They either might have censored that one or just not shown it because they went, no, that's too scary for children.
I don't think they would have censored it because it got the point across of why Rabbit suddenly decided to try and stop them, because he's worried that they'll hate him forever. That's literally what Rabbit said when he wakes up. When they find out what's in that chest, they'll hate me forever. I gotta stop them before they open it. And I love how his plans to stop them fail, like the bridge scene where he brings out a pillow instead of feathers or anything. It's some sort of dust or something. But anyway, he pours it all over him, so he looks like a ghost and all that.
Yeah, that's flour.
He actually can.
It was a flour bag.
Sorry, the way I couldn't remember it clearly. Anyway, I like how he's doing the whole pirate accent and actually convinces them and gets them to lower the drawbridge, but it lands on him. Oh, he seems to have disappeared. Yeah, ghosts do that, And he just and I like how he's a little dizzy, but he just comes out of the hole and just goes, that didn't go well. He doesn't even scratch his head like, ow, that really hurt. He just looks
slightly irritated.
Yeah. All right, I think we should move on now.
Yeah, okay, so gaming side of things, have you been doing anything gaming related recently?
Well, I've almost gotten the last reward for the Wolf of Saturn 6 from Warframe. I just got the Umbra Forma. Now I just need to get the Wolf Saturn 6 armor bundle. And then I've literally done everything and just in time because this is the last week.
Yeah, I only got up to level 12 on that. And I got attacked. I was doing Hydron to sort of level up some stuff earlier, and I got attacked by the wolf 3 times in the same mission. Now, given the fact that I was in there with, granted, a maxed rank and modded Warframe, but I was running around with an ungilded, unmaster ranked kit gun and an unmaster ranked and ungilded mower. I was practically doing nothing to the guy. So literally, every weapon that I had with me was just completely useless. But it doesn't really matter, because every time I've ever tried fighting the wolf, the group that I'm with is just not prepared for it, and we're just not doing enough damage to him, and it's just like we're spending ages trying to kill him. So, yeah. Just...
Yep.
Really, really... I don't know how they intend, or who they intended to... what kind of people they intended to fight him. But the fact that he shows up random... The fact that he shows up at random doesn't help either.
I haven't been encountering him enough, unfortunately, because I still haven't gotten the blueprint of his hammer, and I don't think I'm gonna get it. But, I have found, he's really goddamn fucking tough, because I'm Chroma, I've built for power strength, I have the Vectis Prime, or whatever it is, that sniper rifle, which I can, 6-shot, or even 2-shot if I modded it right, an Eidolon and all that, and practically 1-shot almost everything else, even in the Cephalon Onslaught or whatever it is, a Simulacrum Onslaught, Samaris Onslaught, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know
but with him, I find myself shooting him until I run out of ammo, and he's about almost half health. I'm like, fuck, how much health does this guy have, or what resistance? Have they actually tweaked something to be a threat? Why haven't they done this to the Grewstrike 3 for us? Depending on our gear.
Yeah,
I remember you once
exactly.
saying, you remember when they used to be threatening? I was like, Jesus, I'm having Grewstock 3 flashbacks, only it's with one Grewstock, or whatever, however you pronounce them.
And not to mention the fact that the 3 guys that spawn with him are invulnerable, and they're throwing those goddamn fucking Molotovs everywhere!
You need adaptation to just shrug that stuff off.
Yeah, I don't have that though. I pretty much spec'd my Warframe to mostly. In fact, I do this with all my Warframes.
I actually got a second adaptation mod because it dropped from him.
I've not gotten anything like that. I think I fought him once when he was like on a really low level mission. So he was only like level 20 or something, and he went down pretty quickly. But if you're fighting him in anything else, he is just like built. He just doesn't flinch. There's just no way of stopping him. He's just. I think they might have made him a bit too tough.
I can't remember I don't remember what exactly this person said, but I remember him saying something about like saying, but DE keeps forgetting their armor values they add to their NPCs.
Yeah.
Like when they buff that up a bit, they give them a lot of health and whatnot, and probably they should stick to giving them a lot of health, but don't buff up their armor a little bit here and there because it stacks up. And dear God, you feel it when you verse a Corpus and then a Grenier.
Because you can literally unload every clip that you've got into a level 100 Grenier that's like one of the heavier classes, and it's just like, they're not dead yet. Why are they not fucking dead yet?
And you wonder why a lot of people ask for you to bring Saren or run Corrosive. Also, if I suddenly disappear, the power probably went out because it is storming like crazy right now. I don't know if you can hear it.
I can't hear it, but yeah, I will prepare for that eventuality and probably end the podcast. But yeah, at least one good thing about having fiber optic now is that I can now host groups in Warframe and stream at the same time without any lag.
I remember when I had trouble connecting to you when we first started Warframe together.
Yeah, I don't know whether that was just because of my router settings or what, but It's just
I'm sorry,
yeah.
I'm getting nostalgia flashbacks again, just scrolling up to seeing that image of those plush characters, Johnson and Friends.
Yeah, as I
Again,
said, I
my
just
favorite yeah, my favorite three characters. Again, it was two, but now I'm cheating by saying three because I definitely liked the dinosaur Victoria. Plus, because I live in Victoria. Her name's Victoria.
yeah.
Coincidence? I think not. But Alfred the water bottle was hilarious. Made my brothers laugh a lot because he's the sarcastic of the bunch. And just is like fed up with them sometimes, or is like again just sarcastic. I like it. And Diesel, just because he's a car, I just thought he was the coolest. I just wish I could remember of the. Oh, I just remembered the name of the robot. Her name is Squeaky.
Because she has squeaky parts, I'm guessing.
I don't know. I just remember her name is Squeaky. So that just leaves the accordion. What the heck is her name?
I don't know. Would have to look that up later. Later.
And again, in picture value, she looks freaking creepy. But when you hear her voice, you grow to it. She's probably the kindest of all of them.
But yeah, any other gaming stuff you want to talk about?
Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about an old game I played once that was from 2001 called Fargate. I was talking about it when we were playing our D&D session. I even linked a time link video to one thing about it, one small thing about it in terms of gameplay that I really thought was interesting. I'm surprised not many modern games do it, especially RTS wise. You know how you have to babysit certain characters, like you have to tell them where to move, and whatnot. Like there's a strategy, you do this and that.
Mm-hmm.
I like the games where they do that automatically because they have some level of intelligence in them. They don't need you to babysit them too much. Take this for example: the basic fighters from Fargate. Um, they pursue things, sure, but if they're being pursued, they back up and shoot at the same time, which makes them a counter to those jellyfish from the Nagulian race. They're the first ones you encounter. They're more for ramming slow targets or big targets. They're rammers. They don't shoot like the red wormy ones, which are basic fighters for them. But when those things are pursuing the fighters, they stand no chance because the fighters start backing up when they're getting close, and they move faster than the jellyfish rammers. So they literally can't do shit against the interceptors because they're basically, again, they're running full reverse while shooting at the same time. And the patrol boats are perfect counter to these big slug things that just puke out these little miniature kind of homing missile like. They behave like that. But the projectiles move a bit slow, but they deal heavy damage. But the patrol boat is just fast enough to outrun them. Not only does that, but it orbits around it. So not only does it have to catch up, it also has to turn, and it turns slow. And it reaches the end of its lifespan before it gets a chance to even touch the target. So again, it is a counter because of its mobility and how it moves around the target. And the turrets function in real time. The ship is just orbiting around while the turret is automatically shooting at the primary target. But the turret on the other side doesn't see anything, just keeps an eye out for any optional targets and immediately starts shooting. And this is from 2001. And I even like
this
the
is
reminder
also
of
the
that.
game that you said where during the tutorial it said you can also use your mouse wheel if you have one.
Yes, I was about to was just about to say that. I'm reminded, geez, I forgot how old this game is because it's a full voice dialogue. He says you can also use the scroll wheel if it has one. But one thing I definitely found very interesting and admittedly complex at first, but I realized, oh, I don't even have to bother with this because I can just simply use the arrow keys and page up and down to pan up and down. But you know how you move your pointer to the edges of your screen to pan?
Mm-hmm.
These guys went a little bit more complex. So if you pan directly to the left, right, top, and bottom, you pan, in those respective directions. But if you do it diagonally, or not exactly diagonally, but if you do it, say, like, kind of halfway towards the left side of your screen, but not at the center or at the very left, if you have your pointer there, it will then instead pan up and down. It's those particular spots at the top and bottom of your screen that allow you to pan up and down. It was a bit confusing at first, but again, that was it's in case you don't want to use your keyboard at all, or if you just have a mouse for any particular reason, this is how you can do all these. I even like how they show the icons there and it doesn't go away until you hit a certain button, because it's like, yeah, we know this is very weird and complex and new, so we're just going to have this here to make it very clear, and you can press this button when you feel like you've probably got it. But when you hit that, it then says, also here are alternative controls. uh, and I really liked it. I really like how the building you do is just basically a center space station core, and you build structures that are tethered to it that orbit around. I really like that.
Interesting.
Again, I'd have to show you the gameplay after this. It is a pretty good game that I still could get to run on this PC despite its age. Again, 2001 it was made. At least I'm pretty sure. Let me double check. Okay. Fargate game. Yep. September 11th, 2001.
And I'm guessing you can probably also get it on GOG as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sounds like a GOG style game. So
it was a pretty good game too. At least I found it pretty awesome. And here, just check out this image search link of just the name, and you can clearly tell its age, but again, it has some charm to it.
yeah, I know. I
It's
think I
not exactly-
saw that search link that you gave yesterday. So
And I don't know what they did about it, but when I look at Homeworld and then this, I can very quickly tell the difference between the two. So they didn't end up blending in or mixing it up, and I like that. You could tell where they're from, or at least I could. It might be just a me thing, but again, I really like how that they made this kind of unique. It's just too bad because of how old it is. I've only found one video of gameplay of it that was in English, but the captions were not. And it was just basically the first couple of missions and no commentary. I haven't found any gameplay that shows the full thing, and I've played through the full thing.
yeah, well, we wouldn't get very many people playing it nowadays because it's too old. It's not the hip recent thing, so that's just a shame, really. Any other gaming news you want to talk about? Because I want to talk about how I'm trying to save up for VR at the moment.
Well, if I could go on a little more about the game, I also
No, you may
like,
not.
again,
Silence.
all these little tiny things they put here and there. Like, for example, when you zoom in all the way, it pans behind them, sometimes in a different angle depending on the unit. Like with the fighters. Hold on, here we go. There's a screenshot right here that perfectly represents that. Again, it is goddamn compressed as hell, though. But say for the first basic fighters, when you zoom in all the way, the camera positions exactly like this.
Ah, I see what you mean.
For some, it's at the center. For some, it's in different angles. I like how they just did all these little tiny things.
Yeah, but nowadays it is just they want to push a game out the door, get the sales, get the rep, and then it's just like, move on to the next one. They don't. Game developers these days don't seem to care about small details like that. That and the fact that things have just become too needlessly complicated as well. It's just like basic acronym of game design. Keep it simple. Stupid.
Stupid.
But yes, as I
Also,
mentioned earlier. Sorry, you were going to say something?
the last thing I wanted to just mention about Fargate was the soundtrack. I'm looking forward to showing you that too.
Okay, cool. But yes, as I said earlier, I am in the process of trying to save up for VR stuff, but that's looking like it's going to be a very long time coming, because you know what people are like on my channel. I have a very small handful of great people who are willing to chip in and help out, but other than that, it is primarily just everybody sitting there waiting for one particular thing that isn't coming, and don't particularly want to help me out with anything else because either they can't or they're just not willing to. I mean, I don't want to make it sound like I'm trying to be like a certain somebody else who's just like always just like, oh, give me money, I need the money. It's just no, but that is just how I do. But when you see the view
count differences, and not to mention his stream views, you can see that he has every right to be upset with it at this point.
Who, me or other?
You.
Yeah, that's true.
I was talking to the audience about you, not DSP.
Fair enough. I mean, well, I say tomorrow now, but it would have been yesterday by the time this podcast goes out. I'm probably most likely going to have to just bite the bullet, swallow my pride, and just sit there and play Roblox all the time. At least on YouTube, at any rate.
What views do you get with Minecraft?
I have absolutely no idea because it has been ages since I played Minecraft, and I honestly wouldn't know. I don't know, it's just, with games like Roblox and Minecraft, my interest level just immediately plummets after like a few minutes. I'm just like, yeah, this is a thing.
I know this isn't the first time I've recommended this before, but if you try Minecraft and figure out how to do the mod thing, I strongly suggest you try mine colonies, because again, it's very goddamn complex to get started, but nowhere near as complex as other ones, such as the modern industrial era one. I forgot what it's called, but anyways, I've showed you screenshots before. I've even shown you the towns before. Again, wouldn't that be interesting, a way to play Minecraft? All the blocksters are now resources for building stuff, and you have NPCs that can take care of some of the jobs for you when you set it out.
I don't know. I think it's just because it's Minecraft. It just has the stigma to it, and my interest levels immediately shut off the moment I start sitting there thinking, how would I go about playing this? I mean, I tried to do a
Well, I just told you how you could go about playing it.
yeah, but the thing was, I tried to do a game time video on it ages ago, and I was just running around with a lava bucket, just dumping lava on everything. I was just like, yeah, this is a thing. I'm flying around dumping lava on every single settlement that I can find.
Yeah, speaking of which, try out my colonies in creative mode and use the cheat things to enable infinite blocks and whatnot to just practice with it first. Because it will still take a while for you to gather the resources to get started.
Maybe. I don't know. It's just, again, a case of, I know I have to, but I really don't want to because I'm just not interested. But
I mean, I don't know Roblox, but I have to ask
basically,
you this.
the way I look at Roblox now, I was trying to think about why Roblox bored me so much, and I kind of sat there and thought, it's a kid's version of Second Life. That is essentially what it is. That is just how I look at it, and I'm just like, I've played Second Life for so long that anything that's of a similar nature is just like, yeah, been there, done that, seen it, done the whole different areas and sims and games thing, and that's that. You can't really say.
But
much
I'm trying to ask you though, if you had to make a choice between the two, which would at least be either less boring or at least more fun, if at all?
Neither.
Roblox or Minecraft?
Neither.
I said which. Neither is not an answer.
No, it would just be neither. I would still be bored out of my skull doing either of them. I'm sorry, but it's just, at the moment.
But like you said, you gotta bite the pill.
I would have to probably just go with Roblox because at least I know that one's fairly simple to set up. The only problem is that you'd now get like a million people all trying to add me to their friends list and constantly trying to invite me to games. I'd just be like, oh, fine, whatever. Or maybe I should try and make that a bit of a gimmick out of the stream. I mean, but like I said, by the time this goes out, the stream will probably most likely have happened. But by that point, I'm starting to think maybe I should just make it a kind of a joke that I'm sitting here bored out of my skull trying to play this game, and then maybe I can use that excuse to sit there and talk about games that I actually want to play, and maybe get people interested in those games. Maybe get them to say, hey, you keep talking about this game, maybe you should try playing it. I'd be like, thanks, I will. So, maybe try and use it as a method in trying to get people's interest in something that isn't Roblox, Fortnite, or Minecraft. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows indeed.
But if you do end up trying the Minecraft, I really hope you consider trying my collies.
I will definitely give it a go if it does come down to that.
because that one resurrected my interest in Minecraft temporarily.
Note the word temporarily.
Well, it was still Minecraft. Eventually, I get bored of it again, but I really was fascinated by how well the NPCs, even though they, of course, have their glitches and moments, the fact that they were able to get them to do certain advanced things, such as actually mine out, stylize, and lay out a mine shaft. A lumberjack looks for the trees, and even the custom ones, chops them down proper, and after it's all done, plants the sapling version of it directly where it was chopped. Even for some of the advanced ones that require 4, it will do that. I really like that. I really like how all those little things, and eventually you have the delivery boy that automatically retrieves things that you would normally have to retrieve manually to give to those that are requesting. It does that automatically. You can even, as they level up, teach them how to craft certain things by hand. That would save you some time, like making this basic wood things into planks. You can teach them to do that, and that cuts down the time drastically.
So, yeah, that is an eventuality, to say the least.
And again, I just really liked it. Again, I just really liked it, and it reiterated my interest. And plus, I'm not that good with building structures. So seeing their structures that they were building brick by brick as I was bringing the blocks and watching them go to work, it was amazing. I hope you get that feeling when you, if you give it a go.
I will certainly look into it. But anyway, I think it's probably a time we end the podcast there. So is there anything else you want to add just before we finish up?
No, I think that was pretty much everything. I got it all out there, and sorry for pushing for it.
And he's getting the sleepies. He's got to go to bed.
It's 11:25 a.m.
It's past his bedtime and he's a sleepy little dragon. He needs to go to
Shut up!
He needs to go to sleepy pies. Shh, be very quiet. He's trying to sleep. Anyway. That is the end of the Game Time podcast. So thank you for watching, listening, or doing whatever it is that you are usually doing to consume this type of media. And as always, Heavy Weapons Guy says...
Heavy Weapons Guy says...
Shut up, you! Heavy Weapons Guy says...
Okay, enough.